Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. No. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
How do you feel great on vacation? Like really good? Easy. You go to Aruba. You'll spend your time relaxing on cool white sand beaches and floating in healing blue water. You'll immerse yourself in natural wonder and find your center on an island where things move at your speed. You won't just feel great, you'll feel relaxed, renewed, and ready for life. That's the Aruba effect. Plan your trip at aruba.com.
This is Optimal Living Daily. Choose one of these 2 ways to change by Anthony Ongaro of breakthetwitch.com. And I'm Justin Malik. I read an article every day of the year and give a little bit of commentary at the end just to give us both a bit more inspiration, motivation, or happiness in our days. It really adds up in my experience. So with that, let's get right to our next one as we optimize your life. Choose one of these 2 ways to change by Anthony Ongaro of breakthetwitch.com. For as long as I can remember, I've been super into personal development, habits, and other intentional living topics. Even when I was 12 or 13 years old, you could find me in the self-help section of the Borders bookstore in Ann Arbor, Michigan. May it rest in peace. This is to say that I've spent decades thinking about this beyond the 6 years that I've spent making content and exploring this stuff here at Break the Twitch. And throughout this time, I found that there are only 2 effective ways to change your life, at least change your life sustainably. So what are they? Number 1, slow and steady. Well, one of the ways to change your life is slow and steadily. If you've been with me here at Break the Twitch for even a small amount of time, you've most certainly heard me talk about the power of small, consistent changes. I mentioned this quote from Annie Dillard a lot. How we spend our day is, of course, how we spend our lives, end quote. It's the little things we do each day that become who we are. We're no longer just a person who runs, we are a runner. Not a person who lifts, but a weightlifter. We become the things that we do. This slow and steady option is incredibly effective because anytime we make a change in our lives, we're breaking out of the status quo. We're breaking out of our comfort zones, what we're used to, and often we can only do that at little bits at a time. Imagine if I told you to learn to speak Spanish in a day. That'd be an overwhelming task. In fact, you might not even know where to get started. But if I asked you to learn just how to say hello in Spanish, could you do that? Yes, you absolutely could do that. Hola. It's just one word, but it's learning a new word consistently that creates a vocabulary in Spanish. And eventually, you're not just a person who is learning a few words of Spanish, you're a language learner and then eventually a Spanish speaker. And number 2, burning the bridge. There is a second option to create sustainable change in your life, whether it's learning Spanish or something else, and that is burning the bridge. Here's how that works. Burning the bridge would be changing something drastically in a way that makes it incredibly difficult to go back to what you were doing before. Because if you make a big change that is really uncomfortable, it can be really hard to sustain it unless you have some friction between you and your comfort zone. The example I gave earlier, learning Spanish in a short period of time is a completely overwhelming proposition. But what if you were on a plane to a Spanish-speaking country where you didn't know anyone at all, and you stayed there for 3 months? What do you think would happen? I'd be willing to bet that in that environment, you would learn Spanish a heck of a lot faster because it would literally come down to your survival, asking for food, asking for things that you need, communicating, and making friends. All of your existence during that time would be in a Spanish-speaking country, and so you need to speak Spanish more than you would back at home without having a quick way to escape the discomfort and go back to where your native language is spoken. That's an example of burning the bridge. An example of burning the bridge for me and Amy was selling our house in Minnesota and making our way down to Phoenix about 1.5 years ago. We needed a change, and while part of us didn't want to move, we knew that taking that big step would push us out of our comfort zones. There are many ways you can burn bridges in your life to support a change for the better. While the term may have some negative connotations, when it comes to changing something difficult, I think it can be a really positive thing. You can help yourself stick with a big change by burning the bridge behind you. That way, you won't be able to easily revert back to what's comfortable when you feel the discomfort or resistance to that big change you're creating. What you'll find in these situations is that as humans, we're incredibly adaptable. We will do our best to make it work. The circumstances in 2020 are a perfect example of that. So if you're going big and fast, burn the bridge to help you keep the change going. Choosing one of the ways to change. It's important to be intentional in the approach we take in changing our lives. When you change something in your life, which one of the ways to change do you choose? You can either take the slow, steady, methodical route, or you can go big and fast and burn the bridge behind you. But you have to choose one. There is no middle path here if you want the change to be sustainable. Those week-long detox diets you see on the cover of magazines at the grocery store checkout aisle don't do much. Any benefit you see from these quick solutions will disappear once you stop doing the work. Lasting benefits will be from the long-term actions you take, from the consistent work that's not very sexy. So if the change you want is big and fast, then you better do some bridge burning behind you to make it stick. In my experience, these two ways to change are what end up creating the most sustainable, lasting impact. What's been your experience? You just listened to the post titled, "Choose One of These Two Ways to Change" by Anthony Ongaro of breakthetwitch.com, and I'll be right back with my commentary. Good taste is easy to spot, but hard to pin down. You know it when you see it. With your car, you want something sophisticated and daring, yet classic, approachable, but with an air of opulence. That's where the Range Rover Evoque comes in. The Range Rover Evoque is charisma in motion, art and craft in equal measure. Its exterior is a quietly bold expression of Range Rover DNA with a floating roof, continuous waistline, and three-dimensional grille that give it a captivating character. Inside, you'll find a calm, minimalist cabin anchored by a tactile gear shifter where clean lines, sumptuous materials, and advanced technology come together. Make a statement in the Range Rover Evoque. This elegant SUV elevates every drive, offering a new dimension of refinement and luxury. Whether you prefer a modern aesthetic or a warmer, authentic appearance, the Evoque's interior can be tailored to your taste. Ready to experience sophisticated design and premium materials in motion? Explore the Range Rover Evoque at LandRoverUSA.com. Thank you to Anthony. The slow and steady method is a big theme that comes up across pretty much all of the shows in the Optimal Living Daily Network, and probably one of the top 5 ones that I think we should keep in mind. It's really easy to get sucked into thinking that big changes will happen quickly. I guess they can and do sometimes, but we shouldn't expect it in most cases. But I think he's right in that burning the bridge can force us to adapt, making change a bit more drastic. And the language learning example is a great one. Same with moving, because if you put yourself in a very different environment than you're used to, there's going to be so much going on that certain habits and routines will be left behind while you'll be forced to create new ones. So going into that with an intention of positive change could work really well. But of course, we might not be in a position where we can do that. Definitely takes being comfortable with being uncomfortable, which is another theme of this show. But I'll leave it at that for today. Thank you for being here and listening every day. And thank you if you've ever shared this show with someone. That's the greatest thing you can do to help keep all of this going. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.